good morning, or whatever time it is for you. So I have a little bit of a story time. As you can see from the title of this video, I almost bought a stolen RV, and it's a little bit of a wild story. So let's back it up a little bit before we dive in. A few months ago, I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do next after I sold my van, and I was just, looking and browsing. I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do, and I came across this old, 1989 Chinook, and a girl had renovated it, and it was absolutely gorgeous, and I immediately fell in love. And then I did find another one that was renovated beautifully, and that you just don't see a lot of these Chinooks actually renovated super nice. And then I found one in Texas that was for sale. It was a bit out of my price range, but it was gorgeous and it sold pretty quickly. So then I started to really dive into the Chinooks, and there's a few different kinds, there's a few different layouts, and there's a specific one that I personally like, and I wanted a specific motor, I wanted a specific front, a cab body, and a specific actual RV body. And so it was showing to be a little bit difficult to find exactly what I wanted in my price range. And I wound up finding a Chinook that I fell in love with. I was so hyped on it, but it had listed, I think, about a month ago from now, and I was still selling my van up until just very recently. And when my van sold and it was still available, I was actually going to offer him a little bit less than what it was listed for. And then before I sold my van, right before, he actually dropped the price down to less than what I was going to offer. So I was like, is this a sign? And I was so excited. I will show you guys the Chinook I was looking at, and it doesn't look like much, but I had a vision for it, and I knew exactly what I wanted to do to renovate it and give it a makeover and make it mine and make it home. And I was just kind of preparing myself. So once the van sold, I reached out, because I'm just the type of person that unless I have the cash, I will not waste your time. I'm not going to waste my time. I'm not going to reach out unless I know that it's something that I can purchase. So once the van sold and I knew I was going to have the funds, I reached out. I had been communicating with the owner, the seller, who claims he's not the original owner, that he's selling it for an older friend. That's fine. That I see that often. And I was asking him all these, all the questions you want to ask and everything was looking great. He did tell me that there were two other buyers, a guy from Nebraska and a guy from San Francisco, that were both really interested as well. And I was getting a little bit nervous. I didn't want to lose out on the opportunity to make it mine. And I had a feeling, I can't explain it, but I had a feeling about this Chinook, and I felt like it was a good feeling, but there's a part of me that was unsure. And I told Isaac, we were driving down the road, and he was like, well, what's stopping you? And I was like, well, I feel like I have a good feeling about it. I just know that I have a feeling, and I don't want to jump on it and then it turn out that my intuition was wrong. But looking back now, I feel like my intuition was right. I was just so excited about it that I didn't truly absorb the feeling that I was feeling. It was a little bit of anxious nervousness, but I think my intuition was just trying to warn me. So I had everything lined up. I had a ride to go pick it up. I was ready to go to the bank and get the funds for it. And I was preparing to make the trip this morning. And yesterday, before I was like, okay, let's do these last minute important things. Like, the guy seemed cool. I felt like I could trust him, but you know, you can't trust anyone on the internet, honestly. So I was like, hey, can I get the VIN number? I'm telling you right now, if you're gonna buy anything, do get the Carfax. So I get the VIN number, I run a Carfax, and I am just stopped dead in my tracks. It was bad. And then I showed Isaac and our friend Jordan, and I think all three of us could agree that this was the worst Carfax we've ever laid our eyes on. So I want to show you, this is legit the Carfax that I pulled yesterday. And it is several issues. So as soon as it pulls up, the first thing that pops up is vehicle reported stolen. Then it's a branded title, not actual mileage. And then you look at it, and the only problem moving forward is the odometer problem. And then you keep going, and it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. So a red alert for severe problems were reported by a State Department of Motor Vehicles. This vehicle does not qualify for the Carfax buyback guarantee. And then once you get into what's going on, at one point in 2001, the DMV noted that it's the not actual mileage on the title issued. And then after that, at the next year in 2002, it looks like it was reported again with less miles than the last service it had. So it says the last service it had, it was at 74,767 miles. And then the next month, that goes from June 2002 to July 2002, it went down to 60,000 miles. And then the next year, it's up to 82,000 miles. And that is in 2003. Then in 2005, it was at 88,000. Then later in 2005 and in 2006, it says not actual mileage. And then it just almost every single year from 2005 to recent, it has just over and over and over and over again. Every time someone tried to register this RV, it would be flagged for not actual mileage. And then February of this year, it was a duplicate title issued, not actual mileage. And then the very last notification on the Carfax that you get on the Carfax is March 2024, vehicle reported stolen. Please contact NICB to verify this vehicle's stolen status or call X number, or by completing this form, and again, not actual mileage on the title issued. So I went back. I'm like, am I crazy? The ad said that it had a clean title. So I go back and I double check, and it does. It says clean title. And so I asked him, I was like, hey, I just got the Carfax back. the ad says it has a clean title, question mark. And this is how our conversation pursued after that. He just kind of tried to play dumb, in my opinion. He said, yep, no accidents. Are you referring to the theft report? So he knew about the theft report. And I said that, the salvage title, the incorrect mileage reported several times. And then he goes on to try and say that it was reported stolen because the owner had it at a shop and the mechanic refused to give it back, which I don't know anything about that in that situation. The thing is that's something you might want to put in an ad before you say that it's a clean title. It all just seems a little scammy. So then he asked if he could see the Carfax. So I said, sure. And I sent him the Carfax over. And then he just went into excuse after excuse after excuse, and then tried to say that the mileage was reading wrong because the DMV refused to acknowledge the actual mileage. And he was like, it's the correct mileage. And it's like, do you think I'm stupid? Because it shows the mileage going up and down in the Carfax. And so I sent him over the Carfax, and he just continued to try and make excuses. And then he was like, you could call the original owner. This is his name. Here's his phone number if you have any questions. And at this point, I'm just like, I'm not interested. And so I told him, like, after seeing this Carfax, I'm sorry, I'm just not interested. I am not trying to buy something that is coming with all of these problems. And I don't know that it isn't actually stolen. Like, why would someone who stole something tell you the truth about it? So I'm not saying that he stole it or anything. I'm just saying it's not looking good. Probably not a good buy. So that being said, I did not wake up this morning and drive up to buy it, but I was hoping to, and I was planning on it. So now at this point, I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do next. The thing is there's a lot of variables that I have to think about, and I don't necessarily want to do another build. That was the whole reason I wanted to do an RV, because I'm not a fan of traditional RVs per se, for me personally. But the Chinooks are really unique and they have a different look. So that's why I was like, I really love them, and I still want one if I find the right one, cool. But right now there are no options for me as far as the Chinooks go, because they are all a bit out of my price range that I'm willing to pay for one, because I do want a specific one. So with being picky about them, you kind of have to sit and wait if that's what I truly want to do. But I'm just trying to sit here, and I'm wondering, like, I'm sitting with it and I'm wondering, like, is this the universe trying to tell me that the Chinook is not the right path? And right now there is no path ahead of me that I am seeing clearly. The only other thing I'm really considering as of now is possibly a bus. But like I said, I don't necessarily want to do another build. But if I found the right bus at the right price, I would be willing to do a build. But if I bought the bus now, I would do a no build and just use it until spring, build it out, paint it, and then have it ready for summer. But I would not be building it to the full extent in the wintertime. I would just do like the diesel heater, temporary bed, temporary seating, have a seat in there for Ember, and then like that's it for now. That being said, I just don't know. I did find a bus this morning that I was like, I would buy that. It was very, very inexpensive, and it was like a unicorn bus, But by the time I reached out to him, he was like, I literally already have someone here looking at it. And I'm like, I'm not surprised. So I am just kind of weighing my options, and I am sitting with this, and I am trying to really trust my intuition, and I am not quite sure what the future holds at this point. Like I said, going into next year, I will be moving out of the house, and so I don't want to jump into something just to jump in. I want to make a wise choice, a well thought out decision, and I want to make sure that I feel like I have enough space and that it feels like home, so that when I have Ember with me, she feels like not cramped and she has plenty of room and stuff. And you know, the Ember will be, you know, between me and her dad. And then I'm hoping that next year, maybe next summer or next fall, we can all caravan as a family and go down south. I'm not sure how Isaac feels about that. I've mentioned it, and that's something that we're just considering. It would be a very long trip, and then it would depend on like what's going on with the house. So there's a lot of things that are needing to be considered. So that's just where I'm at. That is my update. I am so thankful that I pulled that Carfax, because that could have been really bad. And it seems like people are falling for the scam, because that's what it is, and they're buying this thinking they're getting a great deal because that's what it looks like from the outside, and they're not looking at the Carfax. And when they realize what they've done, they turn around and do it to somebody else. And I literally am so thankful that I didn't buy it without checking the Carfax, because I could not in good conscience sell it ever. I would just be stuck with it and stuck with that mess. And then if you do try and sell it and be honest about it, you're going to sell it for next to nothing if you ever do. So just make sure you always do your due diligence when you're buying vehicles, because it doesn't matter how nice or cool someone might seem. You don't know them, and the internet is not trustworthy. It's sad and it's unfortunate, but I definitely dodged a bullet, and I'm grateful for that. So whether I do a bus or a Chinook or even a bigger Sprinter van or ProMaster, I don't know. I feel like all my options are up in the air right now. So we'll see which one falls down into my lap. But for now, I am sitting with it, and I am looking forward to what the future has in store. I think next year is going to be a great year for all of us. And for now, I will just continue to help Isaac with his bus as much as I can. And then we'll see which road I wind up going down. So yeah. Has anything like that ever happened to you? I want to hear your crazy stories of internet scandals. So let me know in the comment section below, and I'm looking forward to seeing you guys on the next video.